Kang Jinho, a professional gamer, had consistently held the #1 rank in the game Legend of Heroes 2 for an impressive 22 months. Playing under the ID Outboxer 9, he had caused a frenzy among countless players. His charismatic gaming persona had ensured that no one else, not even the player in 2 in place, had a chance at the top spot. Legend of Heroes 2 was a game that had been around for a decade, yet it remained popular because of its thrilling gameplay, with a dedicated player base that refused to let it fade away. In this game, players could choose their favorite characters from the in-game world and nurture them according to their preferences. Monthly rankings were determined by in-game achievements. The day for the monthly rankings had arrived, and the one who played on the Yellowstorm server was eager and confident that this time she would secure the coveted first place. However, her statement inadvertently turned her into a subject of amusement in the gaming community, as she had been in 2 in place for a solid 21 months. In no time, the official ranking results were out. As expected, Outboxer 9 had secured the first place with over 315 million points, and Yellowstorm was closely behind, missing the top spot by just 800 points. It was indeed a tragic outcome, and Yellowstorm couldn't help but unleash a barrage of frustrations in the chat, leading to multiple system warnings for inappropriate language. With the rankings now settled, the top spot was quickly vacated, and players engaged in non-stop discussions. Frustrated with the results, Yellowstorm swiftly exited the distressing scenario. Suddenly, a notification appeared. User Kang Jinho has entered Pleiades. User Yuhee has entered Pleiades. Kang Jinho was taken aback, feeling breathless and disoriented. He couldn't fathom his current state and surroundings. Approaching a mirror for clarity, he was further surprised to see a younger-looking version of his character from Legend of Heroes 2. Isn't this my Legend of Heroes 2 character? A younger version at that. Kang Jinho muttered in astonishment. Before he could make sense of the situation, a flood of information rushed into his mind. He realized that he had been transported into the mythical world of the Pleiades, where heroes from Legend of Heroes 2 embarked on epic adventures. This realm was a place where nations waged war, and both demons and angels could descend. Drawing from his extensive knowledge of Isekai stories, Kang Jinho swiftly grasped the unusual situation. I entered into the game, and as the former trail, Uter Brile. Yeah, this face definitely belongs to the character that I played as Outboxer 9, the second son of the house renowned for their swordsmanship, the Bale House's Uter Bale. While still grappling with shock, a voice from outside startled him with the words, "Young master, would it be all right if I entered?" Before Kang Jinho could react, an individual entered the room. In this unexpected encounter, his mind was once again flooded with information, introducing the newcomer as Maya, the absent-minded maid from the Bale household. Although not comprehending all the details, Kang Jinho recognized the importance of maintaining his composure. Her explanation revealed that the young lady had recently completed the marriage ceremony and had come to visit him. Yet Kang Jinho couldn't help but ponder the identity of this young lady. However, he didn't expect it to be Cordelia Chase, Uter's fiancée from the Cordelia clan, a family known for its expertise in magic. Upon meeting, Kang Jinho swiftly adopted a courteous stance, but his greeting was far from ordinary. He unexpectedly uttered Outbox and referred to his supposed fiancée as Yellowstorm, which left those nearby utterly bewildered. His fiancée was equally taken aback, and both exchanged puzzled exclamations. "Why did you come out of there?" 2 huge question marks popped into their heads. They both fell into a thoughtful silence, not saying a word. Kang Jinho wanted to check, so he casually raised his hand and called the girl by her nickname. Surprisingly, she responded right away, making everything pretty clear with no room for debate. With lots of questions, but an outsider present, they needed somewhere private to talk. So, out of the blue, Kang Jinho said, "Left of the entrance, column 9 at 9 o'clock. This code meant Legend of Heroes 2 cooperation initialization time, 12 Yellowstorm got it immediately. "We have a lot we want to say, so let's meet at 12 in my house's garden." Then she told her sidekick, Dahlia, to hit the road without saying bye. Maya was standing there clueless, but Kang Jinho played it cool, saying everything was fine. Through the way she talked, it was clear she was Yellowstorm. That night, sticking to the plan, both of them went out to meet each other. He found Yellowstorm sneakily chilling. The moment their eyes met, they both beamed with joy, like a mom coming back from a successful shopping trip, and then dived into analyzing what was going on. Turns out, Yellowstorm, just like Kang Jinho, had woken up 2 days ago and found herself in Pleiades. However, Kang Jinho had a fuzzy memory because of Udal Bile's kinda problematic body. He had the 9 blocked yin pathways, an illness that arises from an abnormal level of yin qi. A problem occurred with their blood vessels, which limited one's qi circulation. Their body became weak, and it became impossible for them to use mana. On top of that, it's exceedingly difficult to get the remedy. Hearing this quirky excuse, Yellowstorm burst into laughter, saying, "Hey, I came to meet you in the day, but why did we have to secretly come out here? Don't you know how hard it is for a grown lady to escape without their parents knowing?" Undeterred, Kang Jinho shot back, "How could I with 9 blocked yin pathways? Jump a fence? And since when were you a lady?" Being questioned about her gender, Yellowstorm confidently said she's been a girl since her mom's womb, leaving Kang Jinho somewhat surprised but trying to act cool. Brushing aside the gender confusion, Kang Jinho promptly apologized to ease tensions before getting into the main agenda. He reassured her first, "My father, Count Bale, took my brother and vassals on an expedition, so the mansion is quite empty right now, slimming our chances of getting caught. I remember sending them off, so I'm certain." At this revelation, Yellowstorm, wearing a kinda sad look, began contemplating her inevitable fate. As memories from the past intermingled, she casually referred to the Count Chase as father. Kang Jinho also naturally referred to Count Bale as father. Stunned for a brief moment, Kang Jinho realized they hadn't transcended into a game. They were in the real world. Reality hit hard. If this was the real world, there was no going back. In the face of this harsh reality, Kang Jinho experienced a sudden jolt, understanding that the chance of returning was slim. Sooner or later, the Pleiades would succumb to the catastrophic Great Summoning Ritual. Yellowstorm quickly caught on. She swiftly grasped the situation. Although Yutter and Cordelia weren't the main characters, having a warrior and a magician formed a perfectly logical team for sharing items. They just needed to think of it like a game, where suddenly the characters were bestowed powers. Kang Jinho joked in a lighthearted way about never thinking he'd be on a team after playing solo for 5 years, especially in this strange gaming turned real-world scenario with a girl perpetually ranked second. Amid the fun, they suddenly faced a bit of teasing. Yellowstorm wanted to charge up and give him a punch, but the situation required holding back. To avoid any issues, Kang Jinho smoothly shifted to looking at the real-world situation. Recovering from the 9 blocked yin pathways would be quicker in the game, so as long as they obtained an item full of harsh yang energy, it would help clear the blocked energy right away. The snag was that there were no items around. Kang Jinho cryptically hinted at something, mentioning an item at the Belkine mountain range. Upon hearing it, she was really shocked. "Are you talking about the Necklace of the Sun? Are you insane? The Necklace of the Sun is an item dropped by Lisegang. How could low levels like us kill him?" Lisegang is a mid-game boss, but Kang Jinho had a plan, claiming he knew a way. The deal was set, and they agreed to meet up at the mountain range on horseback. The next day, as planned, they pretended to go for a stroll in the nearby forest. Kang Jinho skillfully diverted the guards with some flirty banter. Both of them found a chance away from the watchful guards to plan their attack. Their plan was to ambush Lisegang at level 1 and grab the Necklace of the Sun, a sacred item filled with demonic power, dropped by a mid-boss. Kang Jinho asked if Yellowstorm had the gear he asked for. She reluctantly revealed items from her dress, earning a begrudging compliment. Kang Jinho pointed toward a cliff. He had checked it on the way here, confirming it matched the area in the game. The plan was to approach the wall. Yellowstorm would magically leap, the quickest shortcut to the mountain. Unable to bring the 2 guards along, they needed to ensure their tails were cut. Kang Jinho leaned close to Yellowstorm and laid out a plan that required her not to curse or strike after hearing it. After jumping off, using the fact that we are engaged, hearing Kang Jinho's plan, Yellowstorm blushed and took a step back. She was surprised and caught off guard. With no other choice, she reluctantly hugged Kang Jinho and leaped down, leaving the 2 maids bewildered by the unexpected turn of events. After landing, she quickly turned back, mustering all her courage to exclaim, "I want to spend some time alone with Sir Yutter. He won't do anything inappropriate. Sir Yutter is a gentleman after all. We'll be back before dinner, so don't worry." Despite the reassurance, Dahlia was eager to fulfill her duty and follow. Fortunately, Maya stepped in, confidently affirming her young master's gentlemanly nature and ensuring nothing untoward would occur. In the midst of the maid's argument, Kang Jinho efficiently pulled Yellowstorm away from the scene. A while later, she blushed again, realizing she had to jump down from the cliff and bear the responsibility for these embarrassing matters. Kang Jinho, feigning concern, turned to her with a cold gaze, revealing his broken yin-yang circulation and showcasing his feeble arm. After explaining, he shamelessly displayed his weak arm and insisted that he was no different. After their dispute, they had to resume the mission. Kang Jinho confidently took the lead. However, 10 minutes later, he began panting and collapsed, running out of HP. "I'm not okay. My 9 blocked yin pathways. Can you carry me? We need to get there on time. Hurry," he said, adopting a tone resembling a whiny child. With no alternative, Yellowstorm had to carry his lifeless body to reach their destination. In no time, they reached the Temple of the Sun God. Yellowstorm suddenly sensed something, the same feeling as the in-game message always appeared when entering the temple. You can feel the divine power of the Sun God. The in-game message was usually just text, but sensing it this way made her feel like her heart was being purified. However, Kang Jinho remained oblivious, standing there like a clueless rock. Indeed, nights were different. Thanks to the divine aura, no monsters ever appeared in this temple. Yellowstorm quickly advanced to find the seal. Just like in the game, the main room was usually the seal mechanism. The opponent was a demon sealed in a massive temple. Predicting this, Kang Jinho had planned ahead. He told her to pull out the tool she brought, and then he started showing off his drawing skills, crafting a Velastin magic circle with finesse. It was the greatest work of barrier master Velastin, who would make a name for themselves in the second half of Legend of Heroes. It had the risk of not being able to bind a demon it had bound before. Having a 3-minute time limit, it was also called Cup Raymond's Magic Circle. The stronger the demon, the stronger this magic thing became. It was a demon confinement magic circle. After finishing his drawing, Kang Jinho was like, phew, done. But because of the 9 blocked yin pathways, he couldn't activate it. Now it was Yellowstorm's turn to show what she had. Being at level 1, she didn't have enough mana to keep Lizagang under control for 3 minutes. So, for the power, they would use the magic that's flowing through the seal of the sun god Solari. It meant that they would use the power of the temple that sealed Lizagang away and call upon the sealed one's real body for just a moment. Yellowstorm got the game going, cut her finger to drop some blood, and triggered Velastin's magic thing. "Oh, it's shining. A success. It's shaking a lot, are you?" Kang Jinho freaked out, but Yellowstorm was pumped. She felt the mana getting dense real quick, Solari's seal breaking, and Lizagang getting held back by these iron chains popping up. Kang Jinho looked at the monster, thinking it was going to get squashed by the pressure, but Yellowstorm wasn't on the same page. She was so excited, pointing forward. "It's here, Outboxer. It's here, there, on its hips, the necklace of the sun." Yellowstorm waved her staff around, telling him to hurry up and snatch it before it woke up. All she had in her head was grabbing that thing, not thinking about anything else. Kang Jinho moved fast, wielding a stick with everyone cheering him on. But, no surprise, it wasn't going to be that easy. Right when they were about to make it, the monster suddenly opened its eyes, freaking them out. In that tight spot, the young guy somehow managed to hack off the necklace. "You blasted insects," Lizagang angrily yelled at them. Even though it was sealed, the power still scared these level 1 folks. And then, Kang Jinho's legs suddenly wouldn't move, and his asthma decided to kick in at the worst time. Seeing her buddy struggling, Yellowstorm jumped into action. Instead of getting eaten, she leveled up by smacking the monster up close. Yellowstorm was thrilled, originally planning to grab a few items and go, but little did she know that luck would shine on her. Feeling pumped, and with Kang Jinho's gamer instincts kicking in, he immediately caught onto the effectiveness of this attack. He wanted to level up too, so he shrugged off his illness, got up, took the sun necklace, and recited Solari's prayer. Turns out, it was incredibly rewarding, an instant level up. Since Velastin's magical circle could only be used once, this was their only shot to defeat the sealed Lizagang. So, both of them charged in, attacking non-stop with just a minute left. Lizagang spewed curses continuously, threatening and asking if they knew who he was. Before the magic wore off and the monster got pounded into nothingness, it swore that upon release, it would make them feel pain. With the loot in hand and levels on the rise, the two hurriedly made their way back, literally in a rush, as Kang Jinho had absolutely no energy left to walk. That night, Upon Yuhee and Cordelia's return home, they were grounded for 10 days. After completing 10 laps of training to improve his stamina, Kang Jinho laid on the bed, groaning and cursing the darn yin-yang congestion illness. Glancing at the sun necklace, he suddenly recalled Yellowstorm, sending shivers down her spine on the other side. If this world was real, their top priority would be survival. At the ending of Legend of Heroes 2, Pleiadies would be destroyed by the Great Summoning Ritual, unleashing countless angels and demons in Armageddon. To stop the Great Summoning Ritual, a weak guy who hadn't finished running 10 laps and a 1-star magician were sorely lacking. Even with whatever patience he had left, he realized it was time to lay the foundation for development alongside Cordelia. And to achieve that, a love letter was dispatched to Yellowstorm, with romantic language edits from Maya. Yellowstorm unfolded the letter, feeling a chilling horror as the lines addressed to Miss Cordelia hit her square in the face. Fate. She could only think this was just a horrifying jest. Yellowstorm had planned to just glance through the letter and toss it away, but surprisingly, the last line in Korean caught her eye. At least, he had the sense to leave this message. To be specific, Kang Jinho set up a meetup for 2 days later at 2 p.m. in the confessional of the Temple of Varuna. Yellowstorm understood that Kang Jinho must have some plan. He wasn't likely to show up for confession seeking forgiveness for all the teasing he'd put her through. Without overthinking, Yellowstorm quickly told the maid that in 2 days at the Temple of Varuna, she wanted to go out with young Master Yuhee. Hearing Mrs. Words, Dahlia was practically thrilled, as if she was about to embark on a romantic outing, envisioning 100 picturesque love scenarios, winking and affirming that she would make sure they had a private and cozy space. As it turns out, this maid had fallen prey to Maya's seduction into reading romantic novels, so her mind was always filled with who knows what. 2 days later, as promised, after dropping Miss off at the cathedral, Dahlia stood outside on guard duty, cheerfully wishing her an enjoyable date and ensuring that she'd swing by to pick her up in 30 minutes. Saying this had an effect, and Kang Jinho affirmed that he didn't engage in such shenanigans. He had too much money, being the son of a duke, to stoop to such levels. Skipping the need for a verbose explanation, Yellowstorm asked why he had summoned her. Naturally, there was a purpose. Kang Jinho spoke of a covert mission tied to the Temple of Varuna that caught her off guard. After a barrage of questions, Yellowstorm now understood why she couldn't keep pace with him during their hunts. It was because her intel was lagging. Kang Jinho explained that this mission involved both of them, revolving around a hidden dungeon book deep in the temple's library that would lead the opener to a dungeon. There were times when the dungeon they were transported to was in a simulated space, but there were also times when the dungeon they were transported to was in a real place. The reward for clearing the dungeon was a skill book on martial arts and magic. The martial arts books would outline each step of that skill, while the magic books were shrouded in uncertainty because no magician had ventured into the dungeon before. This implied that Yellowstorm would become the first magician to clear the Temple of Varuna's simulated dungeon. Ecstatic at being the pioneer, she was eager to locate the book immediately. No need to search though. While waiting, Kang Jinho had already procured it. Thus, without hesitation, the duo swiftly made their way to the dungeon to fulfill the mission. Inside this simulated dungeon, it worked like a game if you messed up. You got booted out of the book, keeping things pretty safe. After a bit of back and forth, they settled on a team strategy. Kang Jinho, being the one who found the dungeon, wanted the glory of finishing off the monsters, leaving Yellowstorm to focus on the attack state. Basically, he wanted to be the hero. No big deal. She proudly whipped out some magic stones, not the regular kind, but made by her dad, one of the 4 great northern powers, and the founder of the famous magician household, the Chase family. Kang Jinho smoothly complimented her, then pulled out some scrolls with different elements, able to do magic without having to say a bunch of words. He playfully teased Yellowstorm about not remembering all these spells, getting a rise out of her. Before she could cool down, Kang Jinho made matters worse by using his illness as an excuse to hang back, while Yellowstorm, the supposed magician, took the front line. Seemed a bit weird, but oddly practical. Kang Jinho even thoughtfully handed her a mana potion and some armor. After a short argument, it was time to take on the monsters. With the scrolls and info they had, they quickly dealt with the group outside in just 5 hours. Exhausted, Yellowstorm looked at her legs and sighed. In the game, all I had to do was click a ton, but when it's real life, my legs hurt like hell. I shouldn't have worn heels. Sensing a bad vibe, Kang Jinho suggested they take a break, but in the middle of her frustration, Yellowstorm impulsively swung a chain. "It's fine. My legs are hurting because I've walked a lot, and I'm feeling bloated because I've been drinking too many mana potions. And I'm being fucking angry because your level is higher than mine, since you keep getting the last hit in. Besides all that, I'm doing fine." Kang Jinho, catching the bad signs, couldn't help but sarcastically mention her second-tier ranking. Finally, after their trek, they reached the boss room. It was time to wrap this up, as they had spent too long here. 20 minutes in the dungeon, or 1 minute outside. Dahlia mentioned she'd show up in 30 minutes, so they needed to hustle. Seeing the imposing fiery gate, Yellowstorm couldn't help but exclaim, "It's practically advertising that the boss is behind this wall, and the boss is a fury wolf." There were an endless number of goblins, but the boss was a fury wolf, and the fury wolf had a lightning attribute, a new element that got Yellowstorm scratching her head. Before they dove into the boss fight, Kang Jinho told Yellowstorm to hold off until he gave the signal. Just focus on dodging for now. Thinking her buddy might be pulling a last-minute trick, Yellowstorm quickly asked for clarification. Kang Jinho explained that the usual tactics won't cut it with this particular boss, so he needed to get a few things in order. Boom! Level 17 werewolf was right in their faces. As expected, it went straight for Kang Jinho with its first move. Since these wolf creatures usually stick to a predictable straight-line attack, he smoothly dodged its blows. The werewolf took in 2 restraints, double bind and grease, and then got zapped with a lightning spell right in the face, followed by another. Cue painful howls. That's when Yellowstorm noticed something off. Despite the constant attacks, it looked like the werewolf shrugged off the damage, and bizarrely, it got even stronger. Watching Kang Jinho's excited face and putting 2 and 2 together, she figured he was using thunder spells against a creature vibing with the same element. Now it made sense that, no matter how many lightning spells she threw, it only pumped up the werewolf's power. At that moment, Kang Jinho checked out his loot and exclaimed, "Bingo!" It probably awakened. To keep the mood light and not tick off his buddies, he casually explained that beating an awakened fury wolf was the required hidden condition to obtain the B-rank skill book. Yellowstorm took a hit, got mad, and grabbed some scrolls to boost the monster, then smacked it hard, warning Kang Jinho, "I will kill you." Cutting off any more talk between them, the fury wolf zoomed in crazy fast, its big legs and straight line attack like a bullet. You could only dodge it if you timed it right. But game and real life were totally different. The monster switched it up, using a pole like a launch pad, and its attacks definitely changed after leveling up, all thanks to Kang Jinho messing around. Yellowstorm could keep an eye on its attacks, but she couldn't be sure she'd dodge again. Out of the blue, Kang Jinho fell, catching the wolf's attention, and it turned to attack him. Yellowstorm tried to fight back, but it didn't do anything to the monster. She was super tense, not sure how to turn things around. It was too fast, and she couldn't stop it now. Yellowstorm yelled the guy's name, but surprisingly, the wolf suddenly clutched its face in pain, rolling around and letting out a weird smell. Kang Jinho stood up, showing off a bag, and excitedly explained that a dog's sense of smell is way stronger than a human's, and now that it awakened, it couldn't withstand the scent bomb he made. He tried to act cool, saying trump cards should always be pulled out at the last second, but then he quickly turned away from the gross smell. But instead of bragging, they had to deal with it before everything wore off. Yellowstorm gave a scary look, saying, "Bad Wolfie, it's time for your medicine." A big explosion shook the ground, and a message popped up. "You obtained the title Who Slew a Fury Wolf before level 10. All your stats permanently increase by 1, just like in the game." In the wake of earning the new title, Yellowstorm couldn't contain her excitement, breaking into a wide grin. Observing her joy, Kang Jinho hoped that this might make her forget about the whole incident where he provoked the fierce wolf without warning. However, reality turned out differently. Right after expressing this hope, Yellowstorm abruptly turned around, cast a spell that made him tumble, and then playfully threatened Kang Jinho that if he pulled such a stunt again, she'd deal with him like that boss wolf. With the misunderstanding resolved, both swiftly approached the mission rewards. Yellowstorm quickly let go of her earlier anger, while embracing the magical book, lost in thoughts about the beautiful things it might contain. As known, Kang Jinho acquired 36 sky steps. It was a step technique specializing in dodging and consisting of 36 individual steps. It could be upgraded into an advanced martial art. Curiously, Yellowstorm noted its resemblance to the 12 Divine Lightning Step skill he often previously used in the game. Of course, it made sense because the 12 Divine Lightning Step skill was an upgraded version of 36 Sky Steps, but Kang Jinho kept quiet about it. Next up was Yellowstorm's turn. The girl excitedly opened her spellbook, revealing the Fire Missile, a B-ranked fire attribute magic missile. Pretty decent, and lucky for Kang Jinho that she liked it, or he would be in trouble. Exhausted and feeling like passing out, both lay down for a short rest before considering heading back. Yellowstorm praised the effectiveness of the Necklace of the Sun, as both teammates were getting stronger, having reached level 10. And of course, they couldn't just stand still. They had to tackle more missions. Both turned to each other and shouted, "The invasion of the Demon Hand event." True to its ranking at the top, just a mention of it and everyone knew. Characters in The Legend of Heroes 2 all had their own main scenario. Naturally, no matter which character they played, the outcome was the world's doom. However, one particularly tragic storyline was that of Cordelia Chase. It started from her leaving on a journey to attend a friendly social gathering amidst the 12 children of the Northern clans. On the day of the massive event that was the social gathering, by the hands of demon worshippers called Demon Hand, the peaceful social gathering descended into chaos. Most of the children of the 12 clans that participated in the party were either murdered, kidnapped, or brainwashed. Luckily, Cordelia managed to escape in the nick of time, having lost her guards, who were like family to her, as well as friends that she reunited after so long. It was a hellish scenario where she started off alone in a remote forest after a long escape. It was an extremely grim tale. With only half a month left until this event, Kang Jinho pondered for a moment and suddenly exclaimed, "There's no need to follow a doomed scenario." Yellowstorm, sitting beside him, agreed. They needed to play towards a happy ending, and to do that, they had to prevent the Demon Hand, not losing the powerful Northern Alliance like the 12 Northern clans. Yellowstorm bit her nail, showing determination. "Also, Dahlia, I am going to protect her. I'm not going to let her die like a sacrificial NPC while protecting Cordelia." Chap 12. Just because she gained memories of her time on Earth didn't mean that her memories of living in Pleiades had disappeared. She had both her memories of enjoying Legend of Heroes 2 and her memories of living and growing up here. The violence in Cordelia's story probably hit harder for her than anyone else out there. She was very strong as Yellowstorm, but at the end of the day, she was the one and only Cordelia. In the game, Yutterbale couldn't make it to the social gathering due to his 9 blocked yin pathways, but that wasn't a big deal. Running her fingers through her hair, Yellowstorm looked a bit shy anyway. "Since you've gotten a bit better, you're gonna go with me to the social, right?" After some thought, since their original plan was to change the story, there was no need to get worked up about it. "Well, if my dear Cordelia wishes it to be so." Kang Jinho's words gave the girl a warm feeling, though she liked it, couldn't quite put it into words. The next day, Kang Jinho, as usual, jogged 10 laps around the field. But thanks to the necklace and picking up new skills, he seemed much healthier. Victor Cromwell, his mentor, was impressed, saying that his performance had gotten a lot better, and at that rate, he could start learning the family's traditional martial arts when the Earl returned. The old man was touched, secretly wishing the Earl could return soon to see the determination on his son's face. At that moment, Maya rushed in, panicking. "Young Master Yutter, correspondence from Chase County has arrived." Thinking it might be a love letter, it turned out she said it was a letter from Cordelia Chase's dad, Count Arthur Chase, making him feel a bit uneasy. So, when invited, you had to go. At the Chase family estate, Kang Jinho followed the servant. He was afraid of being grilled by the Count about recent actions that caused trouble for his beloved daughter. He was so nervous he couldn't even remember why he was there. Oh my goodness, it was driving him nuts. Kang Jinho came up with a ton of reasons to explain their recent sneaky activities. Seeing the young master trembling like a leaf, Maya tried to reassure him, but she looked even worse. "There's no need to be so nervous. You two are in an engagement officially sanctioned by both households. Miss Cordelia's father will be your father-in-law in the future, young master. I'm sure he will understand." Hearing this, the young man felt a bit calmer. Yeah, Maya is right. Let's calm down. He just wants to meet the person who will be his son-in-law face to face. But the more he thought about it, the more he felt it wasn't that simple. After all, family members were scary. To spare him from more internal screaming, Butler Dahlia arrived to escort the young master inside. with Yellowstorm blissfully unaware of this meeting, still enjoying a peaceful nap. At the same time, on the border where Yuter's father and brother were stationed to get rid of monsters. After reading Victor's letter about their son's condition, they were eager to return to see Yuter in good health. They just wanted to make sure everything was okay. Back at the Chase residence, Kang Jinho felt awkward, like he had done something wrong, hesitating to say anything. The supposed recovery from the sun-shaped necklace seemed to disappear instantly. His body tightened, and limbs almost felt frozen, like facing Lijiang all over again. Arthur Chase, along with his longtime friend Count Bale, they were part of the so-named four great northern powers called the Crimson Storm. He was one of Sealer Kingdom's top battle mages. In the main story, the Count had no reason to meet Yuter due to his growing weaker with the 9 blocked yin pathways and Cordelia's disappearance after the meeting. The engagement would be broken off. However, reality was there, and Kang Jinho was sitting uncomfortably, sipping tea to ease the tension. Just after a sip, he felt lightheaded. It tasted oddly sweet. In that moment, the Count spoke up, catching him off guard. He pondered whether to say something or just kneel down for a quick resolution. After all, he decided to show him the necklace and said that they accidentally stumbled upon it while strolling in the flower garden. Holding the necklace in his hand, Arthur examined it for a while. The religious order's greatest treasure, a relic. This is quite the opportunity of a lifetime. Just by holding it like this, I can feel the extreme yang energy continuously radiating out. After a brief pause, he took out a gift from his pocket and handed it to his son-in-law. Kang Jinho opened it and was surprised to find an extreme yang pill, one of the ingredients to treat the 9 blocked yin pathways. Before he could express his surprise, the Count continued, "And I also heard that when you both fell off the cliff, Cordelia Princess carried you and jumped off. Is that true? You weak bastard." After cursing, he pulled out another gift box and handed it to the young man, saying it contained some berries to improve health, so he should eat them. Kang Jinho eagerly opened it, and to his amazement, it was indeed muscle-enhancing berries, an item he hadn't seen in the early stages of the game. Seeing the son-in-law silent and unimpressed, the Count went to the extent of doing all this just out of concern for his daughter's well-being. He raised his teacup to the Count, suggesting that both items were a bit bitter, so they should be consumed with tea. Now Kang Jinho was truly shocked. It turned out the unnaturally sweet tea was the reason. The Count not only gave him the extreme yang pill and strength berry, but was also super considerate. Kang Jinho couldn't help but wonder if the Count was genuinely nice, or if he just found some interest in him. Well, either way, he thought, let's just enjoy the meal. The Count took a look around, and then noticed the ring on Kang Jinho's finger, the engagement ring he had given them to help strengthen their relationship. However, right after he asked about it, he suggested tossing it away, leaving Kang Jinho unable to keep up. In surprise, he blurted out, "Excuse me? Could I ask you why you're suddenly asking me to do that?" Turns out the Count noticed that only he was wearing it, and his daughter claimed it was accidentally lost, so they'd just make a new one. Kang Jinho wondered how the scene of canceling the engagement would unfold. "Take this and get away from my daughter," he thought. The Count continued to ask about the couple's upcoming plans, hearing that Kang Jinho would accompany Cordelia to the meeting. Suddenly, Kang Jinho changed his tone, addressing him smoothly with the term father. As the man was about to leave, he handed the son-in-law another gift to boost his health, almost to the point of bursting his stomach. Finally, it was time to leave. Despite feeling rejuvenated, Kang Jinho's stomach couldn't take it anymore. He was overjoyed, almost shedding tears. As he opened the door, Yellowstorm was standing there, looking displeased. She shouted in surprise, "Finally here? How can you be so nonchalant? When did you arrive? Why didn't you tell me you were coming?" Kang Jinho, maintaining his affectionate demeanor, tried to be clever and avoid detection. She bombarded him with questions as if no one was around. To avoid exposure, he suggested they go for a stroll in the garden outside. Kang Jinho changed the story, saying the Count gave him those items because he wanted him to be stronger for their journey. He even knew about them running away at the flower field, so he bought that area. Regardless, the issue wasn't about running. It was because she had carried him that day, and the Count wanted to give him a bunch of items. After hearing the story, Yellowstorm felt a bit relieved. She looked over at him, noticing that the dark circles under his eyes had gradually faded, and it seemed like his condition was slowly recovering. She worried about his upcoming journey and whether Kang Jinho could go with her or not. In the main story, after recovering from the illness, he had to pass his father's inspection before being allowed to leave the place he was born. About a week later, Yellowstorm was chilling with a book when a servant dropped off a letter from Kang Jinho. She muttered, thinking she wouldn't have to see him until the gathering. Something must come up. Skipping the irrelevant stuff, she fast-tracked to the end to figure out what he really wanted. The gist was that Count Bale would return soon, and Yellowstorm needed to talk him into letting his son tag along. With no specific date or time, Yellowstorm pondered how to craft a convincing letter. Before she could think further, Dahlia burst in urgently with news. There was a message from her father, a friend of Count Bale and Yuter's dad, saying he would return today. So she had to get ready to go to the Bale estate for the upcoming meeting. Yellowstorm was left flabbergasted. 2 days later, at the Bale family dining room, facing the parents, Yellowstorm felt utterly embarrassed. Kang Jinho couldn't help but recall his awkward situation a few days prior. Kang Jinho's older brother expressed gratitude to Yellowstorm, calling her the lucky star that significantly improved his brother's appearance. Then, Count Alex inquired if she had any requests or pleas. Nervously, Yellowstorm was about to speak, but Kang Jinho jumped in, explaining that she wanted to accompany him to the gathering. While the older brother supported him, his father remained adamant, deeming his delicate son unready to leave his birthplace. As anticipated, Count Alex refused. With no other choice, Yellowstorm stood up and uttered, "Father, that means I really want to go." With young Master Yuter, despite the daughter-in-law's plea, Alex tried to add more reasons. Unable to remain silent, Yellowstorm's father, Count Arthur, stepped in. After a series of subtle messages and persistent appeals from his steadfast friend, Alex finally relented. "If she's going this far, this won't do. Yuter, I heard from Victor that you are in fit enough condition to learn our martial arts. How about we start your lessons this afternoon? I am quite the strict teacher. You better keep up, Yuter." This unprecedented turn of events had Kang Jinho elated, questioning whether this was an unexpected bonus. A few days later, everything was set for their journey to the gathering. In the morning of departure, even though they had just rolled out of bed, both were dead tired from training like crazy at home for the past 4 days. They hopped on their horses with enthusiasm, but the worries of their 2 old dads and elder brother lingered in the background. This time, along with the 2 maids, Jun, a knight appointed by Yuter's father, joined their group. To make sure their journey went smoothly, Yellowstorm and Kang Jinho carefully checked the items that Cordelia had stashed in her bag and dress. Once everything was good to go, Yellowstorm decided to take a long nap since she had stayed up all night reading. The next morning, just like in the game, June shared the news that their route was blocked due to a fallen bridge, so they had to backtrack and find an alternative route. Maya was worried about Yuter's stamina, fearing he might not handle such a long journey. However, Dahlia reassured her, saying that their young miss had mastered healing magic, so they should be fine. Sensing Maya's anxiety, June pledged to do everything to protect her and young master, ensuring their safety. The chatter outside got too loud, making the feisty young miss unable to keep her eyes closed. Upon waking up, she playfully insisted on taking half the money her father had given Kang Jinho as travel expenses to spend on some good food. Come nightfall, since they were trekking through the mountains, finding an inn was impossible, so they had to pitch tents on the fringes of the forest. As planned, Kang Jinho and Yellowstorm sneakily made their exit. Thinking they might get caught, luck was on their side as they slipped away without a hitch. Both reached a stream to carry out Cordelia's secret mission, as explained in the game. The scene unfolded in the quiet night, Cordelia slipping out of camp, navigating a challenging journey for the first time. The pressure from the assembly with kids from 12 high-status families, the feeling of being stifled that the youngest Chase sibling had to endure. Cordelia, needing time to soothe her mind and tired body, went to the forest valley to wash away the sweat. Alone, away from others' gaze, with the moon shining bright and the stars glittering faintly, she began to sing. Her singing echoed through the silent valley, attracting a mysterious creature appearing before her, and so on. Although these events were special acknowledgments to the player, they jokingly claimed it was an important element in Cordelia's storyline, as the reward was something truly extraordinary. Even though she didn't want to brave the icy water in this weather, Yellowstorm had to push herself for the promised reward. But she couldn't turn it into a spectacle. She had swimsuits ready and convinced Kang Jinho to wear a matching set after some back-and-forth banter. After a bit of playful arguing and reluctant promises to just hide in the bushes, Kang Jinho finally agreed to put on the swimsuit. However, before Yellowstorm could enjoy her victory, she noticed he looked pale, probably from the harsh weather. Despite being annoyed, She couldn't let Kang Jinho catch a cold, so she pretended to be mad and dramatically tossed away the swimsuit. Ah, brought it for nothing. Who would have thought it'd be this cold? Why the fuck is Cordelia even taking a bath in such a weather? Unless you rolled around in the mud puddle, you should just endured it, she grumbled. Seeing her fiery reaction, Kang Jinho found it amusing. Despite her rough language, she still showed consideration. Once she changed into their swimsuits, Yellowstorm initiated the strange event. The moment her feet touched the water, a shiver ran through her body. She silently cursed whoever came up with this scenario. From a distance, Kang Jinho signaled to hurry up with the singing, or they'd freeze. Understanding, Yellowstorm agreed. However, something felt stuck in her throat. She couldn't recall what Cordelia had sung. Despite rummaging through a pile of memories, she couldn't retrieve any information. Shit, I can't remember what song was in the event, raced through her mind. They both stood frozen for a moment, like deer caught in headlights. Yellowstorm tried to engage every nerve, humming a song about stars and the moon. Yet, she blurted out some random lyrics. Kang Jinho signaled, questioning what she was doing. If she was hallucinating, she had to sing the song from the game. Trying to compose herself, she couldn't recall what to sing. It was another song about stars and the moon, and this was reality. No time limit here. But she was the first to promise to do it perfectly. Kang Jinho thought it made sense. The song could be different, but the singer was still the same. So it should be okay, and it was cute. Just as he contemplated it, it worked. The small spirits appeared. They were called fairy, a race of free-flying fairy creatures, only appearing in tasks dedicated to Cordelia. The fairy girls twirled happily around Yellowstorm, praising her for her cute look with cherry red hair and fair skin. Curious and childlike, they bombarded her with questions, urging her to keep singing because they wanted more. Observing from a distance, Kang Jinho realized these insect-like creatures mirrored those in the game, emphasizing that Cordelia's appearance was as crucial as the song. Everything was going smoothly until now. They just needed the other entity to make an appearance. On this side, the fairies continued to encircle Yellowstorm, introducing themselves as Adele and Amel, extending an invitation for her to join the Queen's feast. Out of the blue, Kang Jinho exclaimed, "Cordelia, get out of the water. It's appearing from a different spot." The Bicorn's hiding spot is underwater. Baffled, Yellowstorm hadn't fully understood the situation when a colossal creature leaped towards her. Fucking hell, she barely muttered before swiftly darting away. However, before she could escape, the creature's supernatural ability ensnared her, starting to pull her upwards as if to snatch her. While being restrained, her teammates below expressed their frustration through loud shouts. Yellowstorm fought desperately to break free, resorting to hitting her head against the creature, resulting in a resounding thud, much to the astonishment of the onlookers. Indeed, luck favored the brave, and with immense effort, she eventually managed to break free from the clutches of the accursed creature, though not without experiencing pain and discomfort. The towel containing a spell matrix slipped out. Quick as a flash, she used her wand to activate it, creating a bright light that momentarily stunned the creature. Capitalizing on the opportunity, Kang Jinho unleashed a barrage of 36 sky steps, delivering a powerful blow with the blessing of the great sun god Solarai, all aimed at the creature. However, it wasn't enough. Despite targeting its head, the boss with the middle level proved resistant to defeat. Yet, Kang Jinho should find some joy in the fact that Yellowstorm would be furious if he managed to defeat it single-handedly. Down below, Yellowstorm focused on infusing extra fire attribute into the magic missile. Though tricky near water, her skills made it work. After enduring a powerful fire attack, the creature, believed to have met its end, remained standing defiantly. Typically, the mission would involve just chasing it away, but understanding the importance of its horn, they couldn't let it escape that easily. Without hesitation, they teamed up for a coordinated attack. Yellowstorm conjured a deep magic pit to entangle and hinder the creature. However, after casting multiple spells in a row, it seemed she hit her limit and collapsed. Yellowstorm crumpled to the ground, feeling dizzy and overwhelmed. The creature changed course and came at the girl, but conveniently fell right into the pit Yellowstorm had set up. With her teammate completely exhausted, Kang Jinho stepped up to finish the job. Remembering what his dad taught him before their Lancast journey, he recalled the decisive blow, a strong move for taking advantage of an enemy's weakness, a decisive and impactful maneuver. Gripping the neck ring, he soared into the air, ready for a deadly strike. This is the strongest technique my current self can use. The magical creature couldn't handle the barrage of attacks, both magical and physical, and crumbled under the force of another thunder pummel. As the defeated creature fell, an instant upgrade effect appeared on their side. Yellowstorm couldn't hide her excitement. "We got it. It gave me this much experience. Outboxer, did you see? I leveled up 3. Before she could fully enjoy the moment, Kang Jinho submerged himself in the water, floating like a lifeless body drifting down the river. Quickly helping him onto the shore, Yellowstorm found the necklace and tossed it to him. The fairy folk, surprised by the appearance of the young man, realized he had dealt with the troublesome two-horned creature and invited him to join them. With the necklace, Kang Jinho looked more presentable, but they had to wait a bit for him to recover his strength. Even in his current state, Yellowstorm managed to lighten the mood, joking that getting him into swimwear might speed up his recovery. However, she saw this as the perfect moment to showcase her hidden magical abilities. Waving her magic staff, she cast a spell towards him. "How was it, my dear customer?" Relieved, Kang Jinho said, "I feel my muscles relaxing and my bones realigning." Then, suddenly looking up at her with a tender gaze, he uttered 2 words of gratitude, sending shivers down Yellowstorm's spine. After 3 minutes, his body almost back to normal and dressed neatly again, they quickly followed the fairies to the Queen's feast. Though still within the forest, the surroundings underwent a complete transformation. Following the tracks of these elusive creatures, they arrived at a lavish, flower-filled room. Upon entering, a voice startled the two for several seconds. "So, you two are the children of man that Adel was talking about. Welcome, humans. In this autumn of abundance, Fall Fairy Queen Lorelei welcomes you." Back at the campsite, chaos erupted as everyone recognized the disappearance of the couple. June got scolded by Dahlia for dozing off during guard duty. He explained that he felt suddenly sleepy after sipping tea from young master. Dahlia immediately checked the tea and soon realized that it contained the medical herb from Lord Chase to help Miss Cordelia sleep. With the plot exposed, Dahlia, visibly angered, ordered everyone to split up and find them immediately. "I understand that you want to be alone together." This incident was orchestrated by those two. "But this is too much, Lady Cordelia," she pondered. In the presence of the Fairy Queen, Kang Jinho promptly knelt in reverence. Seeing his sudden change, Yellowstorm, feeling a bit awkward, followed suit, expressing, "I greet the Fairy Queen." The Fairy Queen seemed pleased with their gestures, commending Adele for her keen insight. Adele and Emile had disappeared. They were already at the banquet hall. As the couple were stepping into this place, they slipped past during that disjointed time and told the Fairy Queen about the couple before leaving. The fairies were freely able to jump through space and time. Listening in awe, the two friends realized it was uncannily similar to the game's narrative. The Bicorn used to be a persistent headache for the fairies, but now it had been neatly handled by the couple. In gratitude, the Fairy Queen suggested rewarding them. At the mention of rewards, Kang Jinho grinned. Everything seemed to align with the plan. Typically, this would be an automatic event without any external interference. Cordelia would chase away the troublesome creature, and then the invitation to the celestial feast from the Fairy Queen would follow. But the original story had changed. Rather than stop at driving the Bicorn away, they crushed it. It made Kang Jinho wonder if the rewards would now hold greater value. "Since she said you two, it means that there's 2 rewards, right? I'm looking forward to it." What were the things fairies could give again? Fairy rock, fairy whispers? But the thing I need the most right now is moonlight. Without keeping them waiting, the Fairy Queen snapped her fingers, and 2 precious items appeared beside her. Yellowstorm received the moonlight, a staff that had been basking in moonlight here for over 100 years. As for Kang Jinho, he was genuinely surprised. He received Fairy Footsteps. The Fairy Footsteps was an A-rank item that let the user jump through space up to 3 times depending on their capabilities. The game's description of this item was a bit fuzzy, but the most efficient use the users of Legend of Heroes 2 found was to completely dodge an attack by phasing to a different dimension the moment the attack was about to land. This meant users could dodge without moving. Holding the ring, Kang Jinho was lost in thought about what it could do. He was so surprised that he couldn't find the words. He silently regretted saying he didn't need anything. Quickly, he thanked the Fairy Queen and urged Yellowstorm, who was still in awe, to say thanks amid her envy for not getting such a cool reward. The Fairy Queen explained with excitement, "Foo-foo, there's a reason why I gave out those rewards. I like a handsome boy more than a pretty girl. revealing a whimsical and biased preference for handsome faces. After the rewards, it was time for the main event. After being transported back to the valley, both Kang Jinho and Yellowstorm looked visibly tired. Yellowstorm complained about being constantly surrounded, forced to play and sing without a break. They demanded her company all the time. Kang Jinho couldn't believe it, even though time flowed differently at the fairy banquet. Standing there for 12 hours was beyond his imagination. Recalling the ordeal, he shuddered, and Yellowstorm added, even if it was only a few seconds in real life, to spend 12 hours holy moly. I really sang Twinkle Twinkle Little Star like 40 times. In the game, skipping was an option, but doing it in real life was simply unacceptable. Both suddenly turned to each other, embracing and crying, saying, "But it ended. It ended." Yeah, it did. We finally returned. After consoling each other, Yellowstorm noticed the Bicorn lying nearby. Its horn was also a valuable item, and leaving it behind would be a mistake. However, neither of them had the energy, so they decided to seek the help of the knights. Thinking about the knights, Yellowstorm sensed trouble and looked at Kang Jinho with a worried expression, saying, "Outboxer, we are gonna get in so much trouble." As she predicted, the next day, the title of attendants and guards, Dahlia gently announced while brushing the young lady's hair, 3 more days until we reach Lancast. As the guard knight of the youngest daughter of Earl Chase, Miss Cordelia Chase, I can't allow the 2 of you to be exposed to danger again. So until we reach Lancast, I will ban the 2 of you from leaving your carriage, even if it's a little confining. After all, now that both of you will be stuck in the carriage, you will finally get the alone time you so desire. After a lively scolding, Yellowstorm's antennas looked a bit deflated, even though her face still had some enthusiasm. Feeling a bit down, she grabbed a water bucket and headed over to Kang Jinho's spot, wiping off his sweat. Kang Jinho had caught a cold because of this body with its yin-yang blocked. He tried to console Yellowstorm, telling her not to feel bad. He said that Dahlia spoke loudly, not out of anger but concern, adding her thoughts. But Yellowstorm still felt uneasy, worried that Dahlia might harbor some resentment towards her. In an attempt to comfort this delicate soul, Kang Jinho used the last of his energy to explain, promising to apologize together if Yellowstorm remained scared. 3 days later, with Yellowstorm's caring touch, Kang Jinho was back to his old self, and they reached Lancast right on time. As they admired the grandeur and a towering knight statue, something felt off. Suddenly, background music started playing in their heads, reminding them of their gamer days. City of Commerce Lancast was centered around Earl Hreisevelger, but in actuality, it was ruled by the 12 northern clans together. The city was located in the northern territories of the Sealrune Kingdom. It wasn't a part of any family's territory. It was also the city of beginnings that started Yuter's and Cordelia's main scenario. Staring at the enormous villa in front of them, Kang Jinho couldn't help but question what was happening. He wondered why. According to the original story, Cordelia should be in a normal lodging, not this luxurious mansion. Not wanting Kang Jinho to stay puzzled for too long, Maya, carrying luggage, explained, for the young master and the young lady to stay comfortable during the social gathering. Earl Chase has rented this villa. Also, although you 2 are engaged, he insisted that your 2 rooms be separated in the 1st and 2nd floors. Now Kang Jinho understood. It turned out that Mr. Chase was indeed generous. While Kang Jinho was standing bewildered outside, Yellowstorm and Dahlia seemed to have reconciled, looking quite cheerful. To proceed with the plan and meet the deadline, Kang Jinho swiftly went inside to implement what had been discussed. He instructed Maya to arrange the luggage and called all the knights to gather, including the escort knights from the Chase family, except for Dahlia. Holding a letter in his hand, Kang Jinho told them with a serious look, "Father told me that after we arrive safely at Lancast and before the social gathering begins, I need to borrow the strengths of the knights for something." Even though everything was a lie, he looked very professional. Not only Kang Jinho, but Yellowstorm was also not at ease. She and Dahlia immediately went out of the city to start looking for certain people. About 15 minutes before hitting Lancast, the dynamic duo cooked up a bold plan, knowing this main event would be way tougher than the Unicorn Showdown in the valley. Even with their gear power-ups, they couldn't handle this challenge alone. To prevent disaster, Kang Jinho pitched the idea of selling both their dads. Sounds crazy, right? Well, it was virtual. Yellowstorm hesitated a bit at first, so Kang Jinho whipped up a fake letter, copying Lord Arthur's writing to gather Lancast wizards. Checking out the letter, Yellowstorm was like, "Wow, Kang Jinho is really sly." He didn't just mimic the writing, but also nailed the speech style and even the signature. Dude's got it all planned out. Now, Yellowstorm's job was to backstab her dad, the Crimson Sunset Tower owner, to get help from the wizards. Kang Jinho explained, "Wizards are the upper crust, and even if the tower owner's daughter begs, they still want a good payoff." For Kang Jinho's part, he took a similar approach. He'd hand over the document with a made-up story about his dad stumbling on demon-worshipping fanatics during an adventure, finding a secret coded message hinting at a meeting spot in Lancast. With his dad's rep, Kang Jinho figured a personal visit would make them believe it for sure. The document's location details were spot on, given he'd played this game before, making it a 99.9% high T. Back to the present, Kang Jinho, flanked by the Knights, headed to the Blue Lion Knights' main digs to set things in motion. Using the letter and his gift of Gabe, Barua, the head of the Lion Knights, was quickly on board. He rallied the rest of the Knights and zoomed to the demon cult hideouts. A few hours later, they were systematically wiping out one spot after another, showing that the plan was rolling smoothly. Worn out, Yellowstorm slouched, griping about her numb legs and jokingly wishing they could just send a text to set up a meet, like in the game. Tired and curious, she nudged Kang Jinho, only to realize he was unresponsive, a lifeless body. Fortunately, after the teasing, Kang Jinho quickly shook it off, asking how things were going according to the plan. Yellowstorm, forgetting her tiredness, excitedly shared that she managed to lure in 4 wizards. However, the leader of the demonic crew had ice powers, so she had to call in Ronan, the fire expert, for some extra firepower. After showing off her achievement, Yellowstorm turned to Kang Jinho, asking if it was true that his team had tracked down and wiped out all 7 demonic bases. Tired but determined, Kang Jinho replied, "Yeah, we took care of all 7 bases from the game. The Green Lion Knights commander, out of respect for my dad, played a key role. Good thing I knew what was coming." While the original story had 12 bases, they managed to clear at least half. Besides the Green Lion Knights, the Close Guard Knights were also in the loop, giving them a bit more peace of mind. With Step 1 done, it was time for Step 2, setting up things in the Grand Meeting Hall and getting ready for the big party day. Most importantly, they had to ensure the safety of the targets, Cordelia and Lucas Razvelg. Meanwhile, at the hideout of the demonic group, their leader Minos, a guy with a demon inside, clung to the idea of becoming half human, half demon. Even though they lost half their power and most of their bases, Minos remained confident in sticking to his plan. Ignoring the opposition, he stuck to his original strategy, believing strongly in his formidable strength. "In just 2 days, I'll nab one of them, summoning a demon to this empire. Even with the changes, I must stick to the original plan." Sounds promising, but his reckoning was closing in fast. A few days later, at the meeting spot, Yellowstorm and Kang Jinho were meticulously prepped by 2 maids, looking stunningly classy. As Yellowstorm admired herself in the mirror, she couldn't help but praise her status as the top beauty in the game. Kang Jinho, standing nearby, couldn't help but cringe at her self-praise, reminding her of the significance of the day. The annual meeting, despite seeming minor, focused on the 12 heirs of the northern families, attracting folks from all walks of life. Whether invited or not, once you stepped in, your social standing could change. As Yellowstorm and Kang Jinho entered, all eyes turned towards them, accompanied by constant whispers about Cordelia's legendary seemingly weak fiancé. Feeling irritated by the scrutinizing looks, Yellowstorm found it challenging to focus on the plan. Right then, her buddies showed up, giving Yellowstorm a bit of a breather. The cute green-haired girl, Sylvia, from the Crossbell crew, always talking up her mad skills, followed by Viola, the youngest daughter of the Lange Duke, dealing with some social anxiety. As soon as they caught sight of each other, they were over the moon, quickly catching up after being apart for days. Sylvia couldn't help but ask Yellowstorm about the guy standing next to her. Kang Jinho got the hint and swiftly stepped up to introduce himself. A bit later, the star of the show finally arrived, Lucas, the heir to the Hraesvelgr Duke, leading the 12 families and the one they needed to protect at all costs. Lucas came over, expressing his thanks to Uter Bile for making the long journey despite being unwell to attend the event. Uter Bale, Cordelia Chase, and Lucas Hraesvelg all had something in common. They were playable characters in the Legendary Heroes 2 game. Thinking Lucas might be the third-ranked player in the reincarnation rankings, Kang Jinho took the chance to approach him and speak a few words in Korean to check. However, things didn't go as planned, and Lucas seemed completely confused, not getting it at all. Seeing his teammate getting left out, Yellowstorm couldn't hide her joy, playfully teasing the little guy non-stop. She also hoped the third-ranked player would reincarnate into Lucas, but deep down, she didn't really like this character. She only played him reluctantly because she originally wanted to complete all the characters.